Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the NoDQ predictions video for AEW Full Gear 2020. It is election night 2020, so what we're doing here is giving you guys a chance to take a break from politics for just a little bit and let's talk about some wrestling. Let's talk about some positivity. We got what should be a killer AEW pay-per-view this Saturday live at Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. Let me go ahead and get everyone's overall thoughts on this show. And I don't know who's ordering it, who's not. So just give me your overall thoughts on how strong of a card you think this is going into Saturday. TGS, we haven't had you on in a while, so we'll start with you. How's it going, man? And on a scale of 1 to 10, your thoughts on this pay-per-view card.
Well, it's going well. Happy to be back, and I think the card looks pretty strong, to be honest with you. There's not a single match on this card that I don't care about. Well, maybe one. We'll get to that. I'm sure you know which one it is. But other than that, I think the card or the show should be good. I do plan on purchasing it legally. I'm going to buy it. And hopefully I get my money's worth. AEW usually does not disappoint with their big shows, so we'll definitely see. But overall, I'd say probably about an 8 or a 9 as far as excitement's concerned. Big G, what's going on, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Been a good week. I'm pretty excited for AEW as well. I have a wedding to go to that day, so could be watching it later that evening or even the next day. I did go to the first Full Gear in Baltimore, Maryland, so that was cool. So it'll be interesting to watch or to see it in Jacksonville, and I'm gonna say about an 8 out of 10. Pretty excited for the show. You know, AEW never disappoints.
Now, Big G, since you went to that first Full Gear, it's too bad you have a wedding because you could fly down to Jacksonville and buy a ticket at Daly's Place and keep the streak going. You can actually do it. Not many people can do that. Not many people can keep that streak going.
Very true. I want to see how this Full Gear will live up to last year's Full Gear. We do have fans there, very limited.
Yeah.
But we'll see. JM, how excited are you about this pay-per-view?
Well, I'm actually looking forward to Saturday. It's one of those things where I'm looking forward to anything after today. For real. I just want to get this friggin' day over with and see how things play out before the 20th of January. That's all I'm going to say about it. Tyler's going to go ahead and order it. That's good for him. I'm going to flat out steal the damn thing. I'm going to pirate it like crazy and make sure I get my hands on it because I want to see it. I want to see what AEW does. I want to see how they deliver because they have built up a great card and they really have made me want to see it. I just don't have $50 to throw, Tony Khan's way. I got bills to pay and I got merch to chill out and, purchase myself. So, sorry, Tony, but I will watch it and I hope I really enjoy it. I think definitely. I think it makes no sense. It's two different things. I'm pretty sure I'll enjoy it. How about that? Levels as far as anticipation, I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10.
All right, well, I will be buying the pay-per-view on Saturday. Just for the record, I will be purchasing it legally. And I am looking forward to the show. It's not quite as big of a pay-per-view, it seems like, than the other AEW shows. But AEW has always delivered on pay-per-view, although All Out did get some mixed reviews. Overall positive, but there were some mixed reviews. I think it should end up being a really solid show, as they usually are. I'm going to go maybe an 8 for this one, or maybe a 7. The one and only Caleb Jacobs, oh boy, here we go. So he left a $2.29 super chat, says, in my opinion, go Trump, Kingston should win. He had to throw the go Trump in there just to get everybody worked up. Oh boy. Anyways, that's enough of the politics. We're going to move on here to AEW Full Gear. And we will talk about Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, but we'll get to that here in a few minutes. Our first match is the buy-in match. We have Orange Cassidy versus John Silver of the Dark Order. Big G, I'll start with you on this one. Do you think we might see a surprise win here from the Dark Order member, or do you think that this will just be a nice showing for Orange Cassidy to build him up after losing his TNT title match versus Cody Rhodes?
I think it'll be a decent match. I mean, John Silver's okay, but I think this is just a match to showcase Orange Cassidy, like you mentioned, and I'm sure Dark Order and the Best Friends will somehow get involved, and even maybe the Gun Club or whatever. I'm gonna go with Orange Cassidy to get this one here. Simple as that,
All right,
Dude.
sounds good. And by the
That's
way,
Noah's gimmick.
yeah, I know. Well, he's not here, so somebody has to say his line.
There you go.
All right, so real quick to the chat room. Make sure you guys give us your thoughts and predictions. I will be posting some of the comments here on the screen. It's very interactive tonight, so make sure you guys post your thoughts. Let your voices be heard. To me, it's very predictable. Orange Cassidy wins. I really don't see any other outcome. This will be his rebound win. TJS, any other thoughts you have? Maybe a different prediction?
No. I think AEW is running out of things to do with Orange Cassidy though, because I feel like he's already lost his mystique with the hands in the pockets. Like he barely does that now. He just starts everything in full gear, no pun intended. But yeah, I think Cassidy's gonna win, and it kind of sucks because on the last show he was almost at the top of the card against Jericho, and now he's on the buy-in. So really sucks, but either way, I think he's gonna pick up the win.
Well, TJS, they try to spin it now. The people in AEW, they're like, well, people are tuning into the buy-in, and if they see a really good match with a big star, that's gonna convince them to buy the pay-per-view.
Oh, yes. I'm sure this one will convince people to buy it last minute. Silver versus Cassidy, match of the year.
All right, Jeff Meacham.
It's funny that TJS mentioned the lusters kind of come off of Cassidy. I talked about this yesterday on Talk Wrestling. People asked me, if somebody asked me if Mikey Whipwreck would have been a good gimmick in WWE long term. I'm like, no, because Mikey's whole thing was no offensive moves, and he'd barely eke a win out at the end by some strange miracle. He's Orange Cassidy 20 years ago. That's exactly what he was. 25 years ago, whatever it was. That's what Mikey's shtick was. That's what Orange Cassidy's shtick is now. And now that you said, Tyler, he's totally moved away from that. He just starts out in full gear, as you mentioned. So I don't see him being this main event, caliber superstar that people, the indie lovers, have claimed him to be. Will he win here? Of course he will. It's a buy-in. It's against the Dark Order. Who gives a shit, right? But will he be back in the main event picture? No, he won't. I don't think.
And plus, you have him talking now too, which
it ruins the gimmick.
I said this when he was feuding with Jericho and did the whole debate thing with him with Bischoff. It's like I finally bought in on Cassidy. I now don't care again. I don't care now. So
I'm right there with you.
He's lost the mystique.
Yes, exactly.
Well, there you go. That's some pretty strong commentary here from the NoDQ panel. I do think that we need to see something new out of Orange Cassidy. I feel like it's starting to become a bit stale. And, I mean, it had a good run, but unfortunately, the problem with him is that you don't have fans, and the fans really helped get over the act, With no fans there or limited fans, it's just a guy putting his hands in his pockets and pretending to kick people. But when the fans were reacting to it, it made him come off like a big deal. He's one of those guys that I feel has been hurt the most from the lack of fans. Like, who knows how far he could have gone if he got this big push with Jericho and we had full arenas full of fans.
I mean, Aaron, think about it. If you watch the old indie videos of him, when he was doing his little kick in the shin thing on the indies, the fans were popping like he was doing a shooting star press off the damn balcony. Like, they were popping because it was cool. But now it's just like the fans at Daily's Place, the limited people are there, are like, okay, we've seen it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I think the fans there do like Orange Cassidy, but it just doesn't translate as well because they're so far away, and it's an open air venue. It's hard to get the sound across.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the main card. The first match we have is Hangman Adam Page versus Kenny Omega, with the winner going on to become the number one contender, and I would presume they're going to face the champion at the February pay-per-view Revolution. That would be the logical choice, although they could theoretically do it sooner, maybe do a special edition of Dynamite, maybe do a Starrcade special edition. I'm not sure if they can legally use that name, but they might try to do something similar in December, similar to Starrcade. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, some of these AEW stars should take steroids. Well, I disagree with that very much, Psycho Jet Black, but
Yeah,
I
me
mean,
too.
it might not hurt for some of them to get in the gym a little bit more, but I would not say to go as far as taking steroids.
Yeah.
Anyways, regarding this match, I've seen various comments here. Dwayne Atkinson said Omega's going to go full-blown heel and cheat to win. That very well could be the case. I also saw a comment about maybe there's a draw and they do a triple threat match. But TJS, let's start with you on this one. What do you think is going to happen in this match? Who do you think is going to be the next world title contender?
Well, I just want to say this real quick. I think that Adam Page has come a very long way since All In, because I remember his match with Jericho. Everyone was like, oh, really? Hangman Page? I just don't know about this guy. But now, I think this guy has major superstar potential, and I'm looking forward to this match a lot. That being said, I think Omega is going to win. I think he's going to cheat to win, like the chatter said. And I think that... future prediction, I think Omega's going to beat Moxley, and I think that they're going to set up to have Omega versus Page at their biggest show, maybe All Out. It just depends on how much time they could take to build it. You could have Omega injure Page here, just have him off TV for a while, and then have Page come back, and there you go. That's the big match for the next All Out, I think, and hopefully fans are back at this point because this has been burning for a long time, and I think it's going to be a damn good match, but Omega picks up the win, in my opinion. Jeff, what do you think, man? Mr. Meacham?
Shit. Ditto, Big G. It's perfect. You laid it out perfectly. Exactly what I was going to say. Big G, you
Now,
Go
Big
ahead,
G,
go
you
for
can
it.
go back to your old gimmick and just agree with TJS.
I do want to say,
That's a perfect scenario. Honestly, it was. It was
Yeah.
great.
I couldn't agree more with TJS. I do like Adam Page. He has come full circle. You know, at All In, nobody really knew him, and now he's this guy who wrestles and then drinks beers after his matches and gets drunk.
Oh, man. They've done so... Oh,
And this is, I mean, and Kenny Omega turning heel, I think this is the best thing for him ever since he's come to AEW, because, besides winning the tag titles with Adam Page, obviously, but I think this is the most invested with these two wrestlers that I've been in AEW for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
I did see a comment in the chat room from Dr. NXT Scorpio, interesting idea, where Hangman gets the shocking win and then Kenny Omega further goes into insanity and gets even darker than he's already been. So,
Oh, my God. Oh.
You know what?
I
You know what? I'm gonna say Adam Page wins this and faces the champion next, and then they'll do that match because Revolution is far away. Revolution is in February, and I feel like you got to have a big match late December, as I said. I'm gonna say Page wins, and that exact scenario plays out where Omega just goes crazy and gets even darker, and then after Page fails to win the title, Omega will be the next one in February at Revolution. I'm going to say Page wins. There you go.
Okay.
Changing it up. All right, let's move on here to our next match.
Big G had his hand up, man.
What was that, Big G?
Aaron, you swayed me. I'm going with Page now, too.
What?
Whoa!
Whoa!
He lured me to the dark side. I have that gut feeling now.
I just feel like they're trying to... I'm sorry, Jeff. Go ahead. Oh,
Say
I think...
Go ahead, Tyler. It's okay. Go ahead.
I just feel like they're trying to build a lot of sympathy for Hangman, and they're making Omega come off as a huge dick, and it's working. So I feel like Omega's gonna win the title or something, and then Omega may try to like congratulate him, and then Omega just beats the hell out of him. Anything like that. I just don't think Page is going near the title soon.
All right.
So for anybody in the chat room, for you like video game dorks, was there a thing in there in Street Fighter where like Omega had like a dark side like to the character or whatever game that guy was on? Omega, I forget the name of the game now, but there was some sort of game that had an Omega character. Was there ever a dark side to that character? They could totally work that into Kenny's gimmick. Just throwing it out there.
Probably.
I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. Saying.
All right, so Rob Klein just chimed in with $5. Thank you very much for that, Robbie Weiss. He says, do you guys think this pay-per-view is worth $50? They just always seem disappointing. Well, if you've been disappointed in AEW pay-per-views, this one will probably be no different. So I would advise not to order it. But if you've been very satisfied with previous AEW shows, then yeah, I would say it's. I suspect it will be on par with the other AEW shows, if that's what you're asking. So whether you've liked the other ones or not, that's on you. You got to decide if you think it's going to be worth it. But I would say probably. All Out, I think, was maybe a little bit short of being worth $50, but still, it was a very entertaining show overall. I just hate how it goes so late. Like, by midnight, I'm just completely done. But then I got to come on here and do the live recap of the show, which can be very challenging.
Which is challenging because more often than not, you and I are recapping the shows on Wednesdays, and there's no like second person to do the recap on the weekends because they go so freaking late that you don't want to keep your neighbors up with my loud ass.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it sucks.
Robbie and Virtue are in the chat room, and they're not big on Kenny Omega. So yeah, I guess
they're not.
I guess skip this one if you're not a big Kenny Omega fan. But if you are an Omega fan, then you probably want to buy the pay-per-view because I suspect it'll be a really good match, and the show I think will be really good.
Right.
And Shawnee Whelan Music says, "Do you think AEW takes too many risks with spots? Maybe on Dynamite."
Yes.
On the pay-per-views, I say go for it because people are shelling out $50. But yeah, I think maybe on the TV shows they got to be a little bit more story-oriented and not have so many crazy risks on the TV shows. But they're trying to give the fans the best product they possibly can. The question is it worth the potential risks of injuries and whatnot?
What I saw with Matt Hardy last time was not worth it to me.
Yeah,
and that's just I have a unique perspective on that. Let me be clear, but I don't think that was worth it.
No.
So.
All right, so people got their opinions. I like Kenny Omega, and I think that they should have been pushing him from the start as a top guy, even though people would be like, oh, the guys running the company are pushing themselves in the main events. But, hey, he was one of the reasons 10,000 people went to Chicago for All In.
It's like if Cody and the Bucks and Kenny are that good, then you push the guys that are good. I'm sorry, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on here. And by the way, for people that compare Cody and the Young Bucks and Omega to Jeff Jarrett, when was the last time Jeff Jarrett on his own doing a show drew 10,000 people? I'll wait.
We'll give you the entire show to figure that out, and you still won't get a friggin' answer, you boneheads.
All right, so now we have...
Yeah, okay.
Jeff, you did bring up Matt Hardy. I have the graphics now. Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara in the Elite Deletion. I was almost going to say the final deletion, but it is the Elite Deletion, which will be a cinematic match, which the positive of this, I know you're kind of groaning there, but the positive of this is that it's going to be a cinematic match. We don't have to worry about Matt getting hurt, at least most likely.
In theory, yeah. Again, I felt that the last match was supposed to be the blow-off, and because of the injury, they feel like they have to, take it a step further. And, getting Matt Hardy into Elite Deletion mode is always dangerous for anybody involved in the match, especially Matt Hardy. So it's going to be one of those, like, this is the final encounter. This is what's going to end this feud once and for all. And from my point of view, Matt Hardy is already a certifiable Hall of Famer in WWE when he gets that rub back. He doesn't need this. Sammy does. Big time. Sammy has to win this match. I feel Sammy will win this match, but it's going to be... It won't be ugly, like it won't be like bloody or whatever, like really, really bad, but it'll definitely be heavily intense, and Sammy will pull it out by the skin of his teeth, but he will win.
Oh, and by the way, Brian says in the chat room, Cody did not draw 10,000. It was the combination of everyone on the show. That is true, Brian, but even Jeff Jarrett with all those big names in TNA, from Jeff Hardy to Rob Van Dam to Hulk Hogan, they could not even draw 10,000 people.
And let me be very clear, and I'm going to completely shill for everybody involved here, so if you don't like that, I'm sorry in advance. Billy Corgan and his team saw that Cody Rhodes was the guy, and they put him in the match with Aldis for the world title. Like, Billy Corgan saw that. Billy Corgan knows wrestling, and he knows ticket sales. And Billy knew if I'm gonna have my title on the card, it's got to be against somebody special. Cody Rhodes is that special guy.
All right. So Big G, what would you like to see out of this Elite Deletion match?
Like you said, it's going to be a cinematic match. I'm going to agree with JM there. I think Sammy is going to win. Matt Hardy, I mean, he did technically win the last match they won. So, you know, I don't know if they're not like WWE with a 50-50 booking, but I think Sammy needs it more than Matt Hardy at this point in his career.
Yeah, that's pretty much been the general consensus in the chat room. And by the way, Virtue sent in a $4 super chat, says $1 for each of you for loving wrestling. Oh, isn't that sweet?
That's cheap.
I will buy me a pack of gum at the Dollar Tree. Thank you, Virtue.
Hey, you can get something off the McDonald's dollar menu.
Jeff can have my $1.
All right, well there you go. Now Jeff can get a McChicken,
kids.
a McChicken and a large Coke. There you go.
It.
All right.
Lunch is sold tomorrow. Woo!
TJS, your thoughts?
Oh man. Wow. I hate
I love
to
you
go
guys.
against-
Every one of you.
I hate to go against you guys, but I think Matt's gonna win.
You're
I
fired.
think AEW is doing damage control after what happened in the last match, and they're building like sympathy towards Matt since we saw what happened to him. I don't see Matt losing this, especially since it's cinematic. Yeah, I could see him if it was a regular match. I could see Sammy pinning him, but we got broken Matt here. I think that Matt's gonna win, and I think Sammy will be okay. But in the end, I still believe that the veteran Sammy is gonna put over the young up and coming Matt Hardy. Aaron, what do you think?
I'm actually going to agree with you, TJS. It's Matt's style, the Elite Deletion, and it's not really a match. It's a skit, basically. And I can't see Sammy getting out of the compound in one piece. You know, it's Matt's home field advantage, if that's where they're doing it. I presume it's going to be at the Hardy compound. But yeah, it's Matt's gimmick, so Matt will win, and it really doesn't matter. It's meant to be entertainment. Sammy might get run over or fed to the alligators or something. But yeah, Matt will use his trickery to pull off a win and get his final payback on Sammy Guevara and put him in his place. Rob Klein with a $2 super chat says Kenny Omega equals 800,000 weekly viewers. Not good. Yeah, but the demo is what you got to focus on
God.
there, Robbie. It's all about the demo and how you rank it. If you rank high in the demos, then you're good. You're set for life. TNT is happy. Everyone's just like, enough of the demos. Let's move on here.
So yeah.
All right. Next up, we have Hikira Shida versus Nyla Rose for the AEW Women's World Title. This is the one match. You know what? I'll put the graphic up a little bit longer just to give them a little bit more spotlight, I guess you could say. I have little to no interest in this match because I really do not care about the women's division. I care more about the NWA women's title than the AEW women's title at this point. I mean, let's be real here. I like Thunder Rosa, and I like the new champion. I like the people they're bringing in, but yeah, Hikira Shida's a good wrestler. I just don't really care if she wins or loses the title. That's the problem. And Nyla Rose, like, they could have pushed her strongly a long time ago, but they dropped the ball with her, in my opinion, and she's just another person on the roster. So I suppose Shida retains. Like, there's really no point in having Rose win the title, in my opinion. So I'm just going to say Shida wins, and they build her up for champion versus champion at some point. Jeff, what do you think?
I'm going to agree with you based on the last thing you said, because I think the only way to even remotely salvage the importance of the AEW Women's Division is to continually cross-brand with the NWA. And right now, Serena Deeb is the champion, and people love Serena's story. That she got fired from WWE because she was going 100% against the gimmick with Punk. Let's be honest, and she owned it, and she did what she said, and She has come back 10 years later, which is crazy, and she's doing great things. She's the women's world champion in NWA. She had to bow out of a previous match because of the stupid virus, and she's come back strong. She's kicking ass. She won the title the other night, so good on her. The AEW women's division is a complete train wreck right now, and I don't say that lightly because I've always been a huge advocate of women's wrestling, but that division in AEW, Virtue's been saying it the last few minutes here. Unless it's Britt Baker, I don't give a crap. I don't. And that's not a dig on anybody on that roster. But Britt Baker every single week has had me laughing or entertained in some way. Her stuff with Shivani, like, who'd have thought Shivani would be a thing in 2020? For real. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, but it works. And it's funny. The shtick is so funny every single week. I totally forgot that this match was even happening until Aaron put the graphic up. And I forgot that Nyla Rose was even back and has Vicky Guerrero. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, Jeff, here's the thing, to use your line. I suppose it could happen on Dynamite. We have one more Dynamite before the pay-per-view, but where are all the Vicky Guerrero promos? She came in as Nyla Rose's manager, and I feel like she's barely been on TV since she became the manager.
The bottom line is that there's two things going against that. The number one, Vicky, I would think, is not willing to travel a lot and be up in the bubble, if you will, because of potential contamination. And number two, the bloom is off the rose completely. There's no, I don't see the appeal, good, bad, and different, to Nyla anymore. Like when they first brought her in and she was the champion, there was a huge thing with her. Like it was different. But now I'm bored. I'm bored of the whole division. Like I cannot tell you the last time I purposely sat in front of my TV on a Wednesday or on a Saturday for pay-per-view to, the women's match, great. Except the match with Thunder Rosa, last pay-per-view. That match was solid. And unfortunately, they had to follow Matt and Sammy, which was a danger zone. But they did great, considering where they were on the card. But other than that, kind of good.
All right. Big G, what are your thoughts on this match?
Well, you guys took away my special moment. Anyways.
Aww.
No, Shida's going to retain. And then the one true person, my fellow Pittsburgh Steelers fan, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, I think will go after the title and beat Shida later down the road. But for this match, I'm going with Shida to retain.
All right.
Because I could care less about Nyla Rose, let's be honest. I'm sorry.
Yes, please just put the title on Britt Baker already. Oh my God.
Exactly. Thank you.
This is just, it's sad that, like, we don't even get the women's champion on the show except for a backstage promo where she says, I want to fight Nyla. Oh my God. Ugh, Nyla Rose is, at this point, it would be like Nia Jax trying to be salvaged by WWE after she tapped out to Asuka a couple years ago.
Ouch.
This is bad. If you put the title on Britt Baker and make her be the female Brock Lesnar where she is part-time, I'm all for that, but oh my God, this is terrible. I think that Hikara Shida is going to win, though, and please let Britt Baker win that title. Please.
Yeah, Britt's been doing some great stuff. Britt's been the most entertaining part of the show as far as the sports entertainment side of it goes. And I think Thunder Rosa's got a great character, and Serena Deeb is really coming into her own, bouncing back from her WWE run a decade ago. I want to see Britt Baker win the title and then maybe feud with Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb. Maybe eventually do why did I say AWA? NWA versus AEW. I mixed the two together. That's what I did there.
Too many W's.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with the champ to retain here. And we do have a $2 super chat from Psycho Jet Black. He says, "Why does Asuka work as champion but not Shida?" Well, I got short answer, one word: charisma. Asuka has incredible personality and charisma, and that's why I think that Asuka's been one of those few that is able to overcome, the language barrier and everything. Like, she just goes out there. She could talk in Japanese and broken English, but she's so charismatic that you're entertained by it. It doesn't really matter. Asuka has great facial expression. She can get you into the story just by her body language and her expressions. She has that ability.
Go ahead, Tyler.
I was gonna say Shida is in the same position as Riho was, where they're just the boring white meat baby face that no one really cares about since they're not showcasing them.
Yeah.
And not to put over the system or anything, but Asuka had a chance to work in NXT and come over from Japan and really get that, not Dusty schooling because Dusty was already gone by then, but get that NXT training behind her where she's a sports entertainer now, not just a wrestler.
Yeah.
Sheeta's not in that place, nor was Riho. So.
True.
All right, so we'll move on here to our next match, which is Chris Jericho versus MJF. If MJF wins, he is in the inner circle. All right, so Big G, I'm going to start with you. Where do you think this storyline is going? Do you think we're going to see MJF win and become part of the group, and there's going to be dissension amongst the ranks?
So,
what do you think is going to happen?
This is what I was thinking. This could be one of the possibilities that this match ends. Somehow the inner circle turns on Chris Jericho and joins MJF.
Ooh, interesting. So it's all a swerve, Guevara
yeah.
and Ortiz and Santana, they're all acting like they do not want MJF in, but really they're thinking, we got to get rid of Jericho. He's washed up now. He lost to friggin' Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
MJF is on the rise here.
They need a, they want a strong leader, somebody young, somebody fresh, somebody they can get behind. So, with that being said, I'm pulling this one out of my ass. I'm going with MJF to win.
All right.
Join
Well,
the inner circle.
I agree with you, but not necessarily that scenario. Although I really like it, where it's a double cross and everybody breaks away from Jericho and Jericho goes babyface. Which everyone loves Jericho anyways, so he could turn babyface. I think that would be a great way to break him away from the group and turn him face. But I could also see a scenario where MJF just wins the match and then there's dissension, and it kind of is like when The Rock joined the Nation and you have the split later down the line. So for several weeks or even months, you have MJF trying to be the co-leader and there's all this dissension amongst the ranks, and then eventually the group swerves everybody and goes with MJF. But yeah, either way, for storyline purposes, I think MJF has to win this so you can keep it going and see what happens with these guys and all the interesting matches you can do with these guys and this whole storyline. What do you think, TJS?
I think that Big G is right. I think that I could see MJF. So I'm just picturing it in my head now that the inner circle helps MJF win by throwing him the dynamite ring or whatever, and then you could just have the commentary like, "What the hell?" And then it turns out that MJF was in cahoots with the inner circle all along, and yeah, you could have Jericho cast out the old man. They could play that up, and I think that's where this is going. I think it's going to be great. I don't know if we're going to get MJF and Chris Jericho together as a group. I just feel like this is probably going to be the big turn. Inner Circle's going to turn on Jericho, and it's going to be pretty entertaining in my opinion. Jeff, what do you think?
There's so many different things that can go one way or the other in this match. I personally think that MJF will win, and I think that they will turn right then and there. There won't be any slow burn like Aaron was talking about with the Nation back in the day. It'll be right then and there. They'll all be in there together, and then they'll just drop Jericho like a bad habit. And as far as Jericho, babyface heel, he doesn't need to turn either way. Because like you said, Aaron, they're cheering for him anyway. They're singing the song the whole way down the aisle every single week without fail. I love it. And I think he can stay the character he is and still be Chris Jericho, the demo god, the champion, all that. He can still be that guy, just not have the inner circle with him. And the people love Chris either way. So I think MJF, people are in the chat saying they ruin MJF by doing this. I think MJF needs more of a backup because Wardlow kind of is what he is back there. But if MJF has a stable behind him, then he gets, down the line, he's like, okay, well, I'm in charge of the best stable in the company. Where's my rematch with Mox or whoever the champion is?
Yeah.
I have a theory. What about if MJF joins the inner circle and then Wardlow tries to join, but they're like, no, you can't. And then you turn Wardlow babyface and put him against the inner circle.
Ooh, Wardlow's babyface is no. That's bad only because it's the Diesel thing. Diesel was better off as a badass, killing everybody left and right. The minute they put the belt on him and Vince said, "Ooh, babyface," they freaking neutered him for a year. It was terrible. Terrible. So, disagree. 100%.
Yeah.
Unless they push him like they would push Batista or Goldberg. Batista, when he got kicked out of Evolution, he kind of does his own thing.
That did work, but the difference is it's not Diesel and Shawn and Wardlow and MJF. It's one guy against the whole stable. It's different, but it's anyway.
I guess the people aren't behind Wardlow enough for
they're not
anyway
at all. Like, that's the thing. People wanted to cheer Kevin even though he was a heel, but when Vince said, "Okay, well he's babyface now," people were like, "Oh, well, never mind."
Yeah. Remind you of people nowadays, right?
Yeah, I can't imagine where that it still happens to this day.
Oh, geez.
Keep Vince off the damn babyface button. We'll be a lot better off.
All right. Now we'll move on to our 2 matches, and I'm hearing myself echo. Hopefully that goes away.
No, you're good.
All right. We have our TNT Championship match. We have Cody defending against Darby Allin. Now, if you guys remember, several months ago, Cody had the Open Invitational, and Darby was one of his challengers. Cody won that match. So what's going to happen here? Will Darby actually get the big win here, or will Cody continue his run as TNT champion? I think with Darby Allin, you've got to pull the trigger on him if you're going to at all. Like, there have been a lot of people saying Darby Allin should get this big push and he's going to be taken to the next level. If you're going to do it, I think now's the time. He beats Cody Rhodes, and he already lost to Cody. So if he loses again, where do you go with Darby from here? Yeah. I think you got to go with Darby here. But Cody just won the title back. It's a tough call for me, but I'm going to say if you're going to push Darby and try to take him to the next level, it's now or never. You gotta pull the trigger with the guy and see if you can make something happen. Big G, what do you think?
Didn't Cody and Darby face off when AEW first started out back a year ago?
Yeah, I believe Cody's beating him twice now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh man, and like you said, Cody just won the title back, and I'm gonna go with Darby Allin to win the TNT title. And this, kind of after the match, Cody just loses it and just turns full heel. He turns full heel on Darby, and they go their separate ways. So I'm gonna go with Darby Allin winning the TNT title.
All right, Jeff Meacham.
I agree. He will win the championship here. I think the time is now for Darby. Not to phrase, shut up. I know. But yeah, there was a great Robbie in the chat room said Darby needs another year of good building and he can be a megastar. Put the belt on him and do it. Have him be open challenge guy. Darby has no fear. We've seen that he has no fear of anything. Clearly, with that body bag bump he took, whatever it was weeks ago,
with Steve-O.
Kid's nuts. He's nuts, right? So put the TNT title on him and have him again. We mentioned Mikey Whipwreck earlier. Have him be Mikey. Have him eke out the victories, but have him in the process. And just make that work for him, because it can work for him, because he has no fear. He has all the intensity in the world when he needs it, but he's got a great gimmick. He's very just kind of there. He's aloof. He's he does his thing, but I like the gimmick. I like Darby, and going 0-3, 0-4, whatever it is against Cody will completely just him completely once and for all. So he almost has to win this one, right? So that's what I say is going to happen.
Oh, apparently it was a draw the first time they fought. So yeah, I don't see a draw in this scenario.
Either way, he didn't win. Yeah, and he needs to. And if he doesn't win this one, the bottom line is you're facing the top guy in the company. I don't care who's the world champion. Cody's the top guy in the company. He is. He has been. So if you don't beat him 4 matches and you don't win 1, you're about retribution, Barrett, at that point. Just saying.
Ooh.
Ouch.
All right, TJS.
Yeah, I think Darby has to win, or that's it. He might as well just call it a career at that point.
Join Retribution.
I feel like if Darby was in WWE, he would be doing He would be doing jackass comedy segments on the main roster if he was in WWE.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he has to win because I feel like how much further can you go with this Cody reign? Who hasn't Cody beat for that TNT title? Brodie Lee was a transitional champion. That's sad. I really cared about him when he first came in, but now, man, AEW is getting really crowded, I think. I don't even know is Miro even on this card? I don't think
Nope.
so.
No.
Yeah.
He's wrestling tomorrow, though.
Oh, boy. Yeah. I think Darby has to win. That's all I'm going to say. I think he will, and I think he has to.
Give Allen's Revenge Miro for breaking the game board.
They could always add another match to the card on Dynamite. We'll see. I mean, they got 8. We have 2 more to cover here, so let's go ahead and get to our top 2 matches. First is the match that I'm looking forward to the most of any match on this show. It's for the AEW Tag Team titles, FTR versus the Young Bucks. We're finally getting it now after a lot of hype over the past few years, actually. Even when the Revival were in WWE, there were teases of it. Should be a hell of a match. I mean, it's going to be tough to top the match from Revolution against Hangman Page and Omega. That match was arguably the best tag team match of all time. Some people think that, and it's up there. Like, as far as tag team matches, that was top tier, very much top tier. So it's going to be a tough one to surpass, especially without a full sold-out arena of fans. But it should be a hell of a match with these guys. I think it's going to steal the show. I suspect it will be another top-tier tag team match. The question is, who's winning? In the match, the stipulation is that if the Young Bucks lose, they will not get another shot at the tag team titles. Same storyline as with Cody Rhodes last year when Cody faced Chris Jericho for the AEW World title. Yes, at Full Gear. I don't see the same scenario playing out, so I'm going to say Young Bucks win the tag team titles. They've been chasing for a year now. They lost that tournament at the beginning of AEW Dynamite's run. I think they got to win it now. You know, they've been losing, and the whole storyline is that they haven't been able to live up to their past reputation. So I think the Young Bucks are going to win this one. Jeff, what do you think?
You guys have all known, I've been there from the beginning. I've seen the Bucks come up from, where they were out here locally, running their own promotion, back in, whatever it was, the late part of the 2000s, to where they are now. But I've never seen them win a major World Tag Team title. They were in TNA. It didn't happen. They were kind of working with the NWA. It didn't happen. They have the chance now. Yes, it's their company, and I get that. But this stipulation where if they lose, they can never challenge the titles again tells me everything. Cody doesn't need the world title. Cody's got the TNT title to challenge for and to work with, whatever. The Bucks don't have that secondary opportunity that Cody did. They have to win here. If they can never be tag team champions in AEW, what the hell are they doing in AEW? Why are they a thing other than putting the suit on and being EVPs? They have to win here. I'm not saying I want them to because I love FTR. They are my favorite tag team in wrestling right now, period. But it's almost like they have to lose to the Bucks in order for anything to keep going. Because if the Bucks lose, then you've got a contender completely out of the picture forever.
Yeah, Jeff, and you forgot about New Japan tag team titles.
I said what I said. I wasn't watching New Japan back then. Sorry. My bad. But if the Bucks win here, then they can be champions, and they can have FTR challenge, and they can have other teams come up and challenge them, and they can have dynamic back and forth between them and the other team. Whereas a loss here just hurts not only the Bucks but the whole division. So the Bucks win.
All right, TJS, what do you think?
What's that stipulation again? If the Bucks, if they don't win, or is it if they lose that they can't challenge?
If they do not win the tag team titles, they're not getting another opportunity ever.
With any championship, not just FTR.
Yeah, I'm thinking that this goes to a no contest. I think it's going to go time limit draw. I just can't see them having a clean, definitive finish when there's not a full arena for this match. So I'm thinking that they're just going to go like 30 minutes, and then that's going to be that. And then FTR could say, Young Bucks, you had your shot, and then hopefully they can play this back in February with a full arena. I just think that, man, it really sucks that this match isn't going to have a crowd. But I think FTR, they're not going to win, but I think they're going to walk out with the titles, make it a DQ, a time limit draw, anything like that. I feel like somehow FTR is going to keep the titles.
All right, Big G, are you falling asleep over there?
Ooh, me? No, I'm good.
There, wake up. Inside joke.
Back is a bitch. I'm gonna go with Young Bucks to win. I know FTR just won the title just recently in the last pay-per-view, but like Jeff said, Jeff has some good points, so I'm just gonna agree with JM. That's Big G. I agree. Whoever has the best points, I'm gonna agree with them. And in this case, Jeff had the best points.
I feel bad. I stole your gimmick earlier with TJS's point. I'm sorry.
And Big G has his red Solo cup. I have my NoDQ mug, as you can see here.
That's invisible.
Where can you buy that mug, Aaron?
NoDQ.com/merch.
Oh, very good. There you go. Right.
Where can you buy that T-shirt, Jeff?
JeffMeachamNetwork.com and click on the merchandise section.
All right. Let's move on here to
We're
our
on Teespring, by
main event of the evening. We have Jon Moxley defending against Eddie, don't call him Sean Kingston, in an AEW World Championship I Quit match. Or Eddie, don't call him Kofi Kingston. Jon Moxley, if Eddie Kingston went to WWE, he would just be Eddie. They'd probably have him drop the Kingston name. He would just be
Eddie K. Eddie K,
yeah, because Eddie Guerrero in the Hall of Fame would be kind of.
Oh yeah, he can't be Eddie because then people might. He'd probably need a totally different name. Like I don't even think.
They need to buy glasses or just stop watching and stop being stupid. Just get off my TV and leave me alone, like for real. All right.
So call him Ed.
Ed. Here we go. We get Ed and Eddie. We get two more Eds in there. We're in good shape. There we go.
This is tough for me to say because I like Eddie Kingston. I think he's a great promo. But I don't think he's a guy that's going to be carrying the company. I think he's better off as a manager. I think this will be a really good match. Moxley and Kingston, they've worked well together in the past. I think it's going to be a really solid main event, but don't see a title change here. Moxley retains. They're going to have Moxley versus either Page or Omega or possibly both with the scenario that I brought up earlier. I could see Page getting the first crack at like a December Dynamite, and then in February it's Omega versus Moxley again, a rematch from last year's Full Gear. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really solid main event. Moxley wins. Big G, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Moxley too. A lot of people last year didn't enjoy the Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley match because they thought it was way overdone or whatever, but I enjoyed it. And I think this match is going to be kind of similar. Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, they're more brawlers and stuff like that, and this will go out towards the ring and maybe up on the stage and whatnot. But I'm going to go with Jon Moxley to retain. Like you said, Eddie Kingston, he's a great manager. He's a great talker. He makes a believer out of me. He makes me believe that one day he could be world champion. But at this time, this moment in 2020, with the coronavirus, Jon Moxley will be champ.
All right. TJS, what do you think? Chris Goldsmith wants to know your predictions for the election. I guess you could DM him after this.
I was going to reply to him and not bring it up, and now you're making it worse.
Well, I was actually going to tie that in. I'm just going to say real quick, I think Kingston has a better shot than Biden of winning, but I think that Moxley is going to retain the title. I think that it's going to be a really hard-hitting match. It's going to be good. I love the Cody versus Kingston match, but let's be real. Kingston's not going to win the title. I don't think he's going to be world champion like you guys said. Maybe TNT champion in the future, maybe a tag team champion, but with all due respect, I just feel like he's a B-plus player. And I think Moxley, I think Moxley's on fire right now. I just love seeing, I like Dean Ambrose, but I think Moxley is just on a whole nother level. He has the superstar look. He is a badass. He cuts great promos. I love his vignettes. Everything about this guy's money, and I think he's gonna keep carrying that title. So yeah, I think Moxley's gonna win.
Yeah. Now, Jeff, do you like this whole Kingston character where he's doing the gimmick of I'm a wrestler, I'm not a sports entertainer? Do you think it's past its expiration date?
It's not a gimmick. Eddie's like that, like for real. He's actually like that outside of the ring. Like even Virtue said in the chat room, that's how Eddie is. He's always been that way. I've gone back and forth with Eddie. Like there's times where I love him, there's times where I can't stand to be around Eddie. And I was like hesitant when he came into the NWA last year, but okay, maybe earlier this year, but okay, maybe we'll see. He's wowed me this entire time with this thing with Moxley. He has me believing it's going to be a solid match. It's going to be, a fight. I don't believe he's going to win the world title, though. I don't see him, as you said there, I don't think he's the face of a company. He's much better off as a mouthpiece for others. I don't, especially guys that have a language barrier like Penta and Ray Phoenix, but I don't see him as the guy, right? So I think that he will have a solid fight. He'll give Mox a run for his money, but I don't think he's going to win the world title here. And I think we're going to see, like you said, either the scenario with both Paige and Omega or whoever wins that. It's going to be, I don't know if they'll carry it to February or not. Like you said, February is a long way away. So yeah. I think whoever wins that contender match, if there is a definitive winner, will get a shot in December toward the end of the year for on Dynamite. But either way, Mox retains here.
All right, so there you have it for our thoughts on AEW Full Gear 2020. Make sure you follow Noah Foster at nfoster1916. I'm guessing he'll be doing a chart for this pay-per-view. It doesn't count towards our predictions league since that's just WWE-related pay-per-views, but I'm sure we'll be on that just for the fun of it. And thank you guys for being on the panel tonight. I appreciate you three joining me for predictions. And I would like to thank Virtue and Robbie Vice for trolling along in the chat room and putting Adrian in his place in the chat. So thank you for that. I know you appreciated that, Jeff. All right, let's go ahead and do our plugs. TGS, it's been a while since you've been on, so go ahead and give us your plugs. Tell us where they can talk politics with you. Go for it.
Yes, please. Let's talk about it. At official TJS on Twitter, NoDQ.com/TJS on Facebook. Please, we can talk about anything. Wrestling, video games, politics. I don't care. I just like to talk, as you know. So that's it for me. That's all the plugs I got. Big G.
Well, you can follow me at NoDQ.com/BigBallerG on Twitter. NoDQ_BigBallerG1988 on Instagram. Jeff Hilt on Facebook. And you can catch me posting about this Sunday's game against the Cowboys.
All right, Jeff Meacham. Let's see if I got.
Everybody's pissed me off. All right. That's fine. Okay.
All right. Hopefully, I can make Jeff feel a little bit better. Let's see if I have the right thumbnail for his plug. Jeff Meacham. Is it anchor.fm/Jeff Meacham Network? Is that old?
Anchor, that's one of them. That's the one I sent you with. No.
That's the wrong one. I need to delete that off of this page. All right. Wait a minute. Here we go.
Thumbnail right now. Just get rid of it.
All right. The Jeff Meacham Network with the logo. There it is. Go for it.
All right. I want to see it before I talk about it. Okay, there we go. Okay. Yeah, that's the anchor page. If you go to JeffMeachamNetwork.com, you'll see a list of things. You can catch my YouTube page there, my anchor page, my social medias, and my merchandise store. Very simple. JeffMeachamNetwork.com.
All right, and there's the merchandise for Jeff Meacham.
Yes, Pittsburgh's gonna win Sunday. Whatever the hell the game is. So, yeah. Yeah. See, now the merch one I sent you, that's a smaller one. I sent you a bigger image.
I don't know.
On Messenger.
Okay, I'll have to get that other one.
Looks like Aaron's going to freaking image school after we get off the air here. That's
all right. It's time to get back to real life, everybody. The season finale of America is upon us, and we'll have a new season coming up soon.
This season finale, maybe we get the January 20th deal with this crap.
Yeah. So, thank you guys for taking some time out of your election watching and nail biting and all that stuff. Thank you for tuning in with some positive wrestling discussion. Make sure you guys follow NoDQ.com for the very latest. I will be back Saturday night to recap the show, probably going to be midnight. I'm going to be tired AF, but I will be here to give my thoughts on Full Gear. I will be ordering the pay-per-view, doing results coverage on NoDQ.com, so check that out. And tell a friend. Give this video a like, a thumbs up, share it. Just do whatever you can to spread
Share
the
the
word.
love, Shida. Share the love. Of
Share the
NoDQ.com.
love. Follow these guys. Follow me. And that's all we got. Take care, everybody. Stay positive, especially the next couple days. Stay positive. Be safe, and we will see you all next time.